already joining the call. In addition, also, can you confirm if my screen is visible?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I welcome you all to this boot camp. Um, I think our last boot camp on Python, we had about over 200 participants, but this time around, we felt we should focus more on a particular aspect, and after this, let's say this Asia will look for another professional field, maybe the medical line. Let's solve a problem there also. So that's why we focus strictly on Asia, and the participants are those that we also select based on their field also. All right, so without wasting much of time, I'll be starting. Let me just drop a message on the group. All right, so we're just going to start. So today, what we'll be looking at basically is Asia data collection and preparation guide. And I would like to start by saying this. A particular analysis that we feel start from the data collection itself. And that is why we are going to be focusing on that. We are going to be focusing on that today. And from there, we also move on to the next aspect of the training in our next class next week. So I just want to advise every one of us, let's prepare our mind for this. It's going to be a very interesting section, most especially for those in the HR and admin field, so to say. All right, so we are going to just look at techniques, strategy that are expected to put in place when it comes to data collection. I'll be looking at common mistake that we made when it also comes to data collection. And apart from looking at all that also, I'll also be telling you what are the best way to go about it so that you will not find yourself in unplanned error, so to say. All right, so I would be using the slide shared with us before, and at the same time, I'll be taking us from here to Microsoft Excel to show us how these things works. So the first data we'll be looking at here as an HR person, every HR personnel will collect this data. And the first data we'll be looking at is recruitment and data acquisition. Recruitment and data acquisition. So let's look at some of the mistakes that people made in this aspect. The number one here is we call it a lack of data validation for dates and candidate stage. What do you mean by lack of data validation? I would let me just unshare my screen. I want to share my entire screen now so that I can navigate from the PowerPoint to the Microsoft Excel. Again, as I proceed, please confirm if you can hear me. I think that's very, very much important to know. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes.
I need a response. All right. So
I can hear you.
thank you for confirming that. So the first one here is lack of data validation. And this is very, very common. Very, very common. When I mean very common, I mean it. Now, for example, let's say this data set we have here, let's take this as an example. Let me copy it here in our Excel environment. I hope you can see my both screen, see the PowerPoint, and as well as seeing the Excel also.
Wait,
Now,
it's
all
not
right,
up. Your screen.
my screen is on, is not up. Please, let's confirm that.
Your screen is up. Oh, I can see your screen. So you divided your screen into two. I can see your screen.
Yes. So I think what we need is you could check your network. in that case. All right, so let's continue. The first thing we have here talks about data acquisition for for recruitment and talent acquisition. So the common error that we mentioned earlier on is lack of data validation. For example, if we have this list here, you all know the possible job title in your organization. This is candidate one. We have candidate one here. Let me break this down a bit. All right, you have candidate one, you have candidate two. Let's say we have another candidate called candidate three. CND 00003. And this same captain is also driver. Do you know there is every possibility for this kind of mistake? Let's say driver. There's every possibility for you to have this kind of spelling mistake. And let's say, for instance, you have this list of data for the whole year, and someone else said, can you just tell us total number of driver that received offer at the end of the year? By the time you are doing analysis, you'll be picking this as driver, while this one may be omitted eventually, and in that case, there will be issue. So that is where this issue space of data validation comes in. How do you go about data validation? It's straightforward, right? I'll be teaching us data validation techniques right away. This is it. You come to your Microsoft Excel environment, come to this data aspect of your Microsoft environment, and from there you navigate around to where you have data validation. This is where you have data validation. In lower version of Microsoft Excel, you will see this written data validation, and it's just what you need in this case. So, all right. So, what to do now is that pick on the data validation. In data validation, there are different scenarios. Here, you could have it in form of whole number. Let's say, for instance, you want everything typed in that particular column to be whole number, or a particular say whole number. So you pick that. But what we want to use, I just want to pick based on instance we are doing now, is lists. In this case, you as an individual, you already know, for example, possible roles that you or job title that you'll be recruiting for in your organization. Let's say number one, you have driver, then you put a comma. The next one, let's say analyst, put a comma. Next one, let's say HR, for example, put a comma. What other one that we can we talk about? Let's say admin officer. Once you are done, just click your OK. And what you have here is just straightforward. Click on this, you see your driver, you pick it. And even before this, you could come here, just drag this formula downward here, and immediately you come here. For example, you want to recruit for driver in this case, pick driver. In the upper part here, you want to recruit for analyst, pick analyst. Another time again, you want to recruit for driver, you pick driver. You all agree with me that possible error that we encounter here, for example, not spelling driver correctly, this has been catered for here, right? Please, if you are following me, please just let me know. I need a response. Do you agree with that? Or you have any issue regarding what I've done so far? Please, someone should just speak. I want us to communicate so that I can just continue. Are you following? Do you have anybody that can just speak on behalf of you all before I proceed? Is someone speaking and I'm not hearing? I can't hear anybody speaking. or simply just drop a chart. Drop a chart in the text box.
We can hear you.
Okay. And I hope you guys are also following with what I've done so far in this aspect of data validation.
Definitely, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So when you have issues like this, it's better you design your templates from the beginning, the way I've just done it like this. Create a data validation, have the list of all your employee. The same thing can goes for this outsourcing. You have referral, you have job board and all that. And based on, the source, based on every other source that you have, you can list them all in your data validation. Again, I will repeat the data validation process. Come to your data menu here. After that, come to where you have data validation. Click on your data validation. In this case, what we want to use is lists. And when you have your list, come here, type your position. Like I mentioned, driver, it could be HR. The next one, HR. The next one could be admin. The next one could be just, let's say, head of leads, as the case may be. And once you are done, you hit your OK button. And when you are done with that, you'll be needing this across all your column. So what you can do then is just drag this information down here, and immediately you are recording any data, you can always come here, select these options of list that you have. So that is where the aspect of this data validation that we talked about comes in. Most of the time, people don't do this. I want to record my information. You just type, 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 type. There are possibility of error. And once that comes in, there will always be an issue in analyzing data. We'll get to a point, we build data, we analyze data in this training, but this background is very, very much important, because at the long run, you may be analyzing data and you are eventually wrong in the data you are analyzing. So it's very important for us to lay this foundation. The next common mistake that could appear across board is this date. Dates. Now, I need response. Who can tell me the right format for dates? Yeah. Please, I need response. Who can tell me which order is this dates? Yeah. We have month, day, year, and all that. Can somebody just say, okay, what is the right order for dates in this place? All right, you can speak.
Year, month, date.
Yeah. Someone else said, yeah, month, date. Again, you can also come up. Let's hear from you. I'll show you the right way to validate this. Another person can speak. You are raising up your hand. Again, you are raising up your hand. If you are speaking, we cannot hear you. I think we may need to move forward. So there is, okay, you can come up now.
So
Let's hear you.
we have day, month, and year.
You have the day,
format
month, and
month
year.
and year. Yes.
All right. And based on what he also mentioned now, you realize that we don't actually know what is happening here, to be sincere. 12 can be months, and at the same time, it can be day. So it's something that is very, very dicey, and we need to be very careful. So in that situation, data validation will also help you out. So when you have a template like this, you just know that this is just what it is, and you know what I have is correct. So whenever you want to prepare a data collection template like this, use your data validation. I'll show you how that works too. Let's say for this place now, we have here data. We come to data validation. Yeah, you will recollect that you always see it as by default on any value. And this is why the reason why you can type anything in your Excel cells, because the default format for your cell is always any value. Now, what we want to use now is dates. So in this case, your Excel will always then ask you, can you give me your start and end date? So usually I just do one based on the range I feel is possible, 2020. And I can also say 2090. Before we even get to this time, I'm sure they would have exhausted this, like abandoned this sheet or in any case. So you can see this now. I've just set a range that knows my dates cannot go beyond. Now, so what I do now is I click on OK button. See how I validate, how I know the right format for my date. I tell you for real, this thing varies in different Microsoft Excel. We have some lower version of Excel that the correct format is month to come from, no, day to come first before month. There are some formats that is month before day. For you to know the right one that works for you, just do this thing that I showed you. So let's say we have, 31 cannot be a month, right? I know that. So I will use it to just test run and put something that is a month in between 2025. Hit my enter key. Can you see there is an error? So with this, I already know that, wow, in my own case, this format of my Excel, month is what that we always come first. If I press enter, you can see that it allows it now. So that is the essence of data validation. But it's a very, very dicey situation. Let's say 9/5/2025. You all will agree with me that this is September 5th, 2025. Another person that don't know this thing, or you that you don't actually have understanding of your validation, you can come and say, oh, Nigeria way of typing this 5/9/2025. You know this thing, we accept it because none of them is looking like what is beyond the month. It will still accept this, but with your background understanding of, okay, I just want to test run 5/9/2025, 31/5/2025. I already know that this thing is wrong, that the correct one is month first. Even though you have figure like the one I did earlier on, you will always know that this is the format, acceptable format from my own Microsoft Excel. Don't forget where we started from. Use your data validation to note the right date format for your Excel. I will try it again, like I've mentioned, 31/5/2025 is rejected. So I've laid that good foundation that month will always come first before day in this my version. There are other versions that day will come before month, but for my own case, this is how it is, and I just have to stick with it. Please let us note that. So two things I've taught us here: data validation in form of list. Like, you don't need to start typing again. All you need to do is come, pick from the drop down, again, pick from the drop down. In this case, you have already freed yourself of any possibility of wrong spelling. We looked at for list and for date, data validation. So it's very, very, very important for us to know. And it's one common mistake that happens a whole lot. And at the end, No, even a professional analyst will not be able to help you when this is missing. You can imagine you missing month, day, missing month, date inside each other. You don't even know the right date that thing happens eventually because of your wrong means of collecting data. So it is very, very important. And another thing that you also need to know is that always ensure that your data is updated. Your data is updated. See, it doesn't cost you anything after your interview. For example, let's say in this case now, let's create a data validation here. A data validation, data, come to here, your data validation. Let's select list. In this case, we know we have two options here, offered, command, rejected. Rejected. Those are the two options we have here. And you already drag this down. For a particular candidate here, this candidate, once you are just done with the interview, you can put this. The condition of that particular candidate. And another thing that I also feel could also be very, very important, interview stage. Interview stage. Interview stage. Fine, put it there immediately. Use your data validation immediately also. Come here. Data validation. Come here to lists. Come here, just put first stage. First stage. Second stage. Comma. Final stage. Final stage. Enter, keep your listing. So, for example, this guy is must have done is okay. I think yeah, we can just say final stage, and after final stage, we then know the right status. So for this status again, even rather than just having these two options, we can also have another option for in progress. So always tidy your data. After every interview, it could be immediately or you have where you jot it down. Just take your time, come here, come in here. You know, we must have dragged this down here. And you just come, click on your drop down, select the status of the particular candidates. This thing I'm showing you is very, very much important. Once you miss this stage, there is nothing the best of the best analysts can even do for you. I mean, if you even decide not to analyze the data, you now go out and say, this guy is a data analyst or a business intelligence analyst. Come and help me analyze this data. Once all this information is missing, that person cannot also help you. And so if you put all this thing in place, every other thing that will be learning in the course of this training would be very, very much useful. So always ensure that you input the output, you update your data at every point in time. At every point in time is very, very much important. Let's continue to the next data that we also want to look at. We also have, so we call this onboarding and employees record. You know, maybe after your interview, you are in charge of recording the state of your employee that are into the organization. For example, look at what we have here. We have documents submitted and the status is yes. The status here is also yes. You as an individual, you may also feel like, okay, see what I want to do. I want to have like 3 stages. Instead of yes or no, I want to have no, incomplete, and yes in this document submitted here. You could have that condition like, okay, I want to have not submitted at all, which could be no. Incomplete, that means the person submitted parts, and yes means the person has submitted everything that he needs to submit. So it is very, very much important to know that also we need to keep all these things intact, keep it intact. And again, your job title must also be you must also use data validation. Use data validation. It's very easy. Just check, okay, what are the rows we have in my organization? Tidy them up in your data validation, drag it down. You don't need to type them again. Select them and put them in. Your department also have the same thing, and also the start date. I mean the date the particular employee resumes also. You must also must, you can see what I'm saying now. You can see this format. This format is saying year, maybe the next one is month, and the last one is day. We don't even know. But with your data validation, you'll be able to know what is the right format, which is what I have showed you earlier on. Another thing you can also check is employees ID. I will use this as an example also. I know I've mentioned data validation before now. That is why I will not be discussing that again. So let's check this one. How do you track duplicate value? Duplicate value. And also another thing that we also have here is inconsistent pattern of your employee's ID. But you need to note that personally. But what I just want to show you now is, for example, if you are having this kind of lists, how do you ensure that there are no duplicated ID? You already have employee 002, employee EMP 001. Let's say we have another one, EMP 003 here. Now, how do we track this information? This is easy because we have just 3 data. Organization where you have up to about 1,000 employees and everything is on your desk. And probably you are even in charge of giving them ID. How do you just be sure that there are no duplicate value? I will be teaching you what we call conditional formats. Conditional format. If you are looking at the process of this training, I'm not here to start telling you maybe one particular aspect of Excel or something. We will still do that actually, but I just want to go more practical about what happens in the HR field and all that. So just follow me as I actually move on. All right, so these are the list of employees that we have here. How do we track that there is no duplicate value? Take your cursor, come to this column, just highlight it. Go back to your home menu, you see what we call conditional formats. In this conditional format, click on this drop down. You will see highlight cells rule. Once you come to this highlight cells rule, just come down to the last option there, duplicate value. Click on duplicate value, and this will just highlight duplicate value for you. In this case, we don't have any duplicate value. That's why it's not highlighting. Let's see down here, we have employee 001 again. You can see what happens. This tells you that employee 001 already exists. So you should not give another employee the same ID. If you move on, maybe it's even after a whole long time that you put the same thing, it will show down here that in this column already there is an employee with this ID. So this is very, very important. You can use this to check this kind of scenario whenever you are keeping your record. Again, this is data collection, and the foundation of every analysis is from here. And I will repeat what I've mentioned earlier on. If you miss it at this point, even the best of the best analysts may not be able to solve your problem. So it is very important. Yeah. Please, before I move on, again, I usually like to hear from my participants. Are you following? I just need the response. Someone can speak. Are you following? Are you enjoying the training, or is there anything that is not clear before I move on to the next one?
I'm following.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. So, this is very, very important. Let's note this. It's a very good foundation that you must lay. If you don't lay that foundation, there will be issue. The next one here is performance. Performance. So it is also very important to know that before you go ahead to start analyzing your data, have a very good understanding of what you want to do. For example, when you talk about rating, you should not conclude that rating is 1 to 5 today and tomorrow the rating now turns to 1 to 10. There will be issue. And it's even not a problem, right? But if there is a need for that kind of change, it is very important for you to have a track of when this change happens. I will show you that. I'll show you how that works very soon. So it's very, very important for us to have that understanding of what you want to do. Rating is 1 to 5, and it should not exceed 5. Once it's beyond 5, it is wrong. If at the time you need to change it to 1 to 10, then have a clear understanding of the range of your rating. Before, if 1 to 2 is poor, it could now be 1 to 4 that is poor if it's now 1 to 10. So just have that understanding and ensure that this is very clear. And again, you also need to have accountability. Who reviews the employee and all that? We should also have that information for the case of performance management that we have here. And I'll just do one example of what I've mentioned earlier on also. I'll do that for us again. All right, let's say we have, sorry, I think I didn't copy it correctly. Let's say we have this in here. We have this here. This is your rating. Your rating is 1 to 5. Our agreed rating currently is 1 to 5. You must have that understanding. And again, you can see this converting to dates. So let me change the format. Let me change the format to number. This is this 1 to 5 is our rating here. And we have it here also. I think data validation should be able to even help in this case. And how do we go about that? We come here and we come to data validation. Because if you are following me, you realize that I keep on measuring this data validation. It helps you a lot. It helps you to curb errors that are just very common. So it will help you to just know that you are doing the wrong thing at every point in time. Data validation, you can come to O number here. You can see here minimum is 1 and maximum is 5. Hit your OK button. If you come here and type 7, it will not accept it. You understand? So have your definition, have it well spelled that, okay, this is what I want and this is what I want to go for. And in any case, let's say, let me drag this down. This condition works up to this point. Let's say at this point, there is a change of approach in my organization, and they now said, okay, it's now 1 to 10. I can equally come back here, come to my data validation. Instead of 5, I put 10. So from this point, this has now changed to 1 to 10. It's no longer 1 to 5. If I come here, I type 4, it will allow. I type 5, it will allow. If I type 10 here, it will not allow because the current setup is 5. If I type 10 here now, it will allow. If I put 7, it will allow. You get what I'm saying? So with this, you have a track that, okay, from here, this is my range. And going forward, we'll still do some analysis using, for example, we can start using if function later on when we get there. But have a clear understanding of what each of these things stands for and use them. Again, your reviewer also, please use your data validation. It's very, very important to do. Let's move on. We've just checked performance management. The next one is compensation and benefits. Other things that you also need to put in here, for example, here you then need to start using something like currency. I believe most of us should know how to do this. Instead of having it in just number, you need to set up a very good format. You need to format it in form of currency, and I will show us that also. So manual entry in figure numeric, probably because of there's no comma and all that, you may mistakenly increase someone's figure. Like this one now, easily, you can say, you cannot look at this easily and say it's 30,000. Someone can look and say, oh, this is 300,000 because there's no demarcation of comma to know the unit of the particular amount at every point in time. We'll look at that. The next one that we also say is missing date formats. Don't forget, we've established this already. Just follow what we mentioned earlier on. So what I'll just do for us in this compensation is, let's see how we can format our currency. Let's see how we can format it easily so that it will be clear to anyone at every point in time. All right, so this is where we have money. These ones are money. All right, so I can easily just select this whole column because I know whatever I'm putting here is money. So how do I go about this? I will be formatting. Don't forget what we did earlier on. We have format here. And if you look down below, there is this small arrow here. Once you click it, you see the whole view of your format. Other way of doing this is you can come here, go to your own menu, you see format here, right? Come down here and click cell format. The same thing will come down to you for you to go ahead with what you want to do. But while going through that, once you see this, just click on this arrow down here, the whole thing will come out. And don't forget what we want to do. We want to format currency. So come here, pick currency, go down. Let's look for our Naira in here. These are Naira, and we don't want it in decimal. If you want decimal, you can add it, but in this case, no decimal. Hit your OK button. You can see now there's demarcation. Easily, you can know which one is 200, which one is 30,000, which one is. And the good thing is continuously 400. This, let's say this is 400,000. You can see the demarcation, the format will keep on working continuously. If you come down here, type, let's say 60,000 now, it will keep on working. So these are just very good foundation that we must lay whenever we are collecting our data, and it's very important also. Let's continue. Let's continue. It's the next information we have. Here we have engagement and retention. I will not take us to Excel here. I've mentioned it earlier on. No, we have engagement score. And from here, you can see the range. And here, what I mentioned earlier on, common mistake is missing range. Is it 1 to 5, or 1 to 10? Have this established. And once you have it established, use your data validation to set within the range so that figures you are inputting does not exceed that range. Is very important. And your exit reason also. It's also very important. Don't use open for feedback. The best way to go about do that for us. Want to collect this kind of data. If you want to collect this kind of data, because very, very important for organization. And I tell you, head of HR can call you anytime. Maybe you are even an head of HR. The owner of business will call you. When the owner of business calls you, he wants direct answer. You understand? It's not like, why is the reason this person is resign? You now start reading them one by one to give feedback. It is wrong. So it is always good for you not to allow open tests. Use your data validation, like I've mentioned. Think of the summary of reasons that people may have. And here, in the front here, you can now have something like comments. Comments. Let them put all their story in here. Let them put all their story in here. But you want to have a general overview. Is it a salary issue? You can ask, is it that the person just resigned on his own? Is it termination of contract and all that? You can have them in your data validation here so that it will not be story that you'll be seeing in the reason here. But in your comments, you can put the whole story. And I tell you, stakeholders, business owners, they don't have time for story. What they want from you is, what is the reason? Sir, to be honest, 5 of them resign because of poor salary. 3 of them resign because of the work environment. It could also be because of work-life balance issue. You understand? You are in this field. You know hundreds of reasons why people can resign. Have them in data validation. And in the front, just put them there, the comments in the front. But for your easy analysis, don't use open tests. In this case, is very important. And don't forget, your date is also here. All right, before I move on again, I need a feedback. Are we following? Is there any issue so far? Someone should just speak just for me to be sure that we are together.
Sure,
We
we
are
are
following,
together.
sir.
All right, all right,
Together, sir.
thank
No
you.
issue.
Thank you. All right. So this thing is very important. Very important. It's not by typing. See, you can have data and the data is useless. I've seen quite a lot of that. That when I look at the data, I just know it's not something to do. And you can imagine you building 3 years, 4 years data of an organization in that format. I believe the owner of the business will not be happy eventually. So all these things are very important. Let's keep them in mind. Let us continue. That is for retention tips. Workforce planning and analytics. In this case, we just want to know, for example, the head count, hire and exit. I dare to say that some of all these data figures that we have here, I usually don't even encourage us having them count like this. They should be feeding from a particular data in here. And when we get to this point, I will explain more further. I will explain more further when we get to this point. So I will not stress us much here. All right. So this is the end of the slides that I have here. So basically, the reason why I came up with this slide is not about analyzing alone. have a data that can be analyzed. Build a data that can be analyzed. If you don't do that, there will be issue. There will be issue. So let's move on. I will just go to the group. Don't forget, I shared 2 data sets with us earlier on. This is the first one here. All right. How do you go about analyzing data? How do you go about it? We have different stages. The first stage we have is called we have what we call an ETL process. Number one, extraction. Extraction is getting the data from where the data is being stored. Number 2 is transformation of data. And when we talk about transformation of data, what do we really mean about that? Transformation of data is at the point where you start looking the arrangement of the data, how the data looks like, and in that place we call something data mining. What is data mining? Looking at this table, this data alone, you should be able to have understanding of what this data is all about. For example, we have serial number, we have employees name, we have employees number, we have states. This is to tell us the state this employees belongs to. We have zip code. Here we have age of the employee. Here we have sex, their marital status, so to say, their citizen status. Here also we have here the hired date, the dates in which this employee was hired. And between you and me, you know that dates can be deceiving sometimes. So for these dates now, in my data mining, I will have to scroll down. I will have to scroll down a bit. I'll scroll down a bit to check in here and see what is the arrangement. With this now, I know that the arrangement is month, day, and year. You understand? Because 16 cannot be months. So it's good to have that understanding. I also have the department, position, another information we have is pay rate, manager name, and all that. So basically, I know that this data is just giving me overview of my employees, those ones that I have within my organization. Basically, that's what this is giving us understanding of. And here also, in this part of this data, we now have some information here that fits directly from this data that we have in here, and that we would actually be looking into one by one. For example, here you have employee source. You can see this is where the source of where you get your employee, and you can see that this thing is very, very much in order. You cannot see repeated figure or value, so to say. So this is very important. You can, when you have data like this, feel free to just drill down. You can see managers. These are all the managers within the organization. If I'm you, what I will be looking at is Eric or dog girl, or what is this name now? I'll be looking at it like, is there no any misspell of this name? Maybe there is somewhere where they want to spell Eric. They now write ERCI. I will know that, oh, there is issue with this data. So it's very important for us to just check through, and have understanding of what the data looks like eventually. It's very, very important. So having this understanding, I know that this is my employee number. So for example, now in this organization, what if I want to know my total employee? Total employee, the total number of employee in my organization. How do I go about that? we have a function called count. Count in Microsoft Excel, and that's what we'll be using in this case. So we just come here. We come here. I know that this is my column that contains all my employees here, and I know that every of them stands on their own. There are no repeated value. Another thing you can do here is what I taught you earlier on. Come to your home menu, conditional formatting, highlight, search for duplicate value, hit your OK key. You can see that there is no duplicate value. Let's say, for instance, I copy this and I paste here. You can see it's showing me that, oh, this one is duplicated. But with what I have here, there is no duplicate value. I know that I'm safe. So how do I get my total employee? I will use count function equals to count A. I'll be using count A. Count cells that has appearance or cells that are not empty. So I'll be using that. And to do that, I'll come here to my raw data, click on the first cell and press and drag down to the last row. Now, this is the last row, but I just say that this is not the best approach, because if you eventually add new employees here, this information will not cater for it. Sorry, I should open a bracket here and then come down here, drag here, close the brackets and press enter key. You can see here I have total number of 44 employees. In a situation whereby tomorrow we have like three new ones that joined our organization. If you come here, what happened? It's still 44. So this is not flexible enough. So what we do most of the time is this. I will come here. You know, this is from C3 to C46. I can come here and just increase this to, let's say, 9,000. Press enter key. You can see now the three new ones that just joined number has added to the number we have. Let me zoom out. Or zoom in rather. You can see it has added to it. So with this, I have my total number of employees using my counts. Using my counts. All right. So another thing that I feel, okay, let me just delete these ones. They are not included. What if in a situation now we have male, we have female. We want to start doing a kind of gender equality, gender balance analysis and all that in our organization. How do we do that? Don't forget, we start by calculating for our total employee. Here we can now have, let's say, male. Let's say here we have female. Female. How do we go about it? So we'll be using a function. Don't forget what I use here is count A. I call this one count appearance. And what it does is it counts cells that are not empty. So with that, I know that I have my value. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to use a function called conditional if function. Conditional if function. And we'll be using the same count, but this time around, we will be adding if. Yeah, so we are using a function called count if. Count if this situation is this. Now let's check. Look at this. I want to make this very simple for you. Immediately you input all this information in your Microsoft Excel. What Excel does for you is that it gives you clue of how to solve it. Look at this count. You see it in the front. Count the number of cells in the range that contains number. This is what count will do for you. If we now put count if, you now say count the number of cells within the range that meet specific condition. Even let's say you are in an interview, nobody will chastise you for reading this. So this thing is very simple, and Excel will always come up to help you. Okay, it's counting that I need in this case, I will then put my open bracket here. Once you open your brackets, look at what Excel does for you. Excel said, okay, give me the range. So go back to the cell that you have your data. Where is the range? This is the range. Select the range, put your comma. You can go back to your cell 1 and see cell 1 here says that the next one thing after the range is criteria. Where is the criteria? This is the criteria. Yeah. We are saying that count this whole cell. Count this whole cell if, sorry, all right, let's do it again. Count if I want to select this particular place. Yeah, it's G I want to select. It's G's that contain our what's it called? Our gender. So count if this cell is equals to male. Close the column and hit to enter key. Can you see here we have 22? So this is the formula. You come here, let me do it again for you. Let me do it again. Equals to here, count if this cell, the next thing now is to put the criteria, then just type comma, open bracket, open a quote, type the gender, close it, and hit to enter key. So you can see that we have 22 here. For our male, also equals to count if open brackets, come here, select this cell also, comma, quotes, female, and close.
Sorry, we can't hear you again. No.
Hello, I have hands up.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
okay,
had a
okay.
bit of network issue. All right, let me just start saying your comments. Ebere,
Okay.
Okay, I just
can I
wanted
Can I
have
to
speak
your
now?
ask. I wanted to ask, these formulas we use in Microsoft Excel, do they work in the same way in Google Sheets?
yes, in Google Sheets, for example, this if we work exactly in Google Sheets. Somewhere Martin, that is where a bit of changes in Google Sheets. For this count if it works. Maybe what I'll be doing for you is that I'll be opening your eyes to scenarios where this doesn't work in Google Sheets. I'll be doing that. All right. Can we have the
Oh,
next
thank you.
person?
Okay, thank you so much. So I just want to ask, in case of this date formatting that we are talking about, that month to come first, sometimes they would come first. I think it depends on the way our date is being set on our laptop.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
So I'm trying to take us back to when we are talking about date formatting. Like from our data set, sometimes our day they might be the first instead of a month, like the arrangement of day. I'm not saying that is it not
Mm-hmm.
because of the way our laptop date is being set? Because if our laptop date is being set in form of month come first and date follows, any if you are working with any data set that they are giving to us,
Uh,
most likely that date will return in that format for us unless we change it. I don't know if I'm wrong or right.
yes.
But
Yeah, I get the angle you are coming from. I get the angle you are coming from. You are saying that it depends on the format that the data set they send to you comes with. Am I right with that?
yes. No.
Now,
What I'm saying
you
is
are
that
correct. Okay.
okay. What
Please
I'm saying is that
ask. You can.
if we check this your laptop now, we are saying that from your laptop now, month come first. We are saying 11/1/2025, which means that month come first, followed by day. Like your
Mhm.
laptop dates. What I'm saying is that most times it depends on the way our laptop date is being set. If my laptop date is
Yes.
being set in one, like normal 1/11, first of October, November 2025. So the data I'm working with is also going to be in that format unless I
Go in
change
that
it.
format.
Yes.
I get you well. You understand? I get you well. But me, I'm not taking you through that part of your laptop date or anything. What I just take you through is I just what I'm telling you now is okay, use to know what is acceptable for you. You understand? With the help of your data validation, I set up a data validation now, right? And I was able to. This is month, let's say 11/1/2025. This is obtainable, right? Correct. Based on my date format. I can come over here. Where's this place? To my formats, right? Come to date format and change it this way. You can see now, it has changed. See,
Yes, I can
you
see.
can
Yes, yes.
manipulate, but the foundational value, you must get it right. If you don't get it right, it will cause problem later on. That's why I said use your data validation to know what is obtainable, what is acceptable for your own case. If at all it moves from this computer to another computer, it will adjust properly. But once you miss it from the right source, there will be issue. You understand? So that's why I feel that data validation for me is just what I feel is safe. And that's what I use basically. Fine, it works with this, but someone else can just come back. Year is coming before months here. And look at what my laptop is saying here. But I tell you, my data validation will still accept this because from onset, I've set it that way. You understand now? Hello, do you get that?
Yes, I get your point. Thank you so much. I get your point. Thank you.
All right. So please, I always advise people use the data validation to know what is obtainable, what is acceptable for you, and you can do a lot of manipulation. We'll still get to a point where we'll be extracting our dates. But if the issue has happened, there will be serious issue at the long run. There will be serious issue at the long run. Please, let's note all that. Let's note all that. All right, so this is what we are doing. Here, we've been able to use a function called count if to get total number of male, total number of employee, female. And from here, you can discover that this organization is balanced, which I doubt if we can see this in real life. Like total number of male is equals to the total number of female in an organization. If you sum these two up, it will be equals to the total number of employee. So we have been able to use a function called count if to do that. Another thing we can now then be looking at is in our marital status, we have about 4 different categories here. We have divorce, we have this married, we have separated, we have single, and all that. I will use a particular function here, but I am not too sure if it will work on your system. For those of you that are not using Dynamics 365, if I use this function called unique function and I select this column, close it, press enter. What do you see here? You see the list, total list of my employee marital status here. I doubt if it works on other ones, but I just use this to get this. I'll just copy the list out here. I will tell you what you can use. Now, this is our total number of employee. No, sorry, marital description. Let's say we have this marital status. Marital status, yeah. And here we want to know how many of them are married, how many of them are divorced, how many of them are this. So if you recollect, when we're doing this, we are typing this value here. Like male, we type it in here. We'll do something now and you'll see. All right, so let me just put total here. In this case, I will now do equals to count if, open brackets, my marital description range, comma, come to my sheet and select this, press enter key. What do you have here? You have 24. Now, let me explain something. Before now, you notice that this place, I just pick my B9, which is married here. If you come here, I typed male, and before, for this my male, what did I do is I quoted the male. The reason being that this male I type here, we call it string in data, so to say, in data analysis, so to say, is a language that Excel does not understand. You understand? Excel does not understand male as a language. So what I do now is I now quote it that, okay, quote, no, identify this thing for me and find it in that place. But in this case, Excel identified this cell name as B9. So that is why for this one, I didn't bother to quote. I just select that column and it's come out for me. So you see what I will do now? Instead of me typing this code, writing this formula again and again for each of them, I'll just drag it down. So look at what happens. Immediately I get here, it changed to be B10 and it's picking the divorce case for me. When I get here, it's changed to B11 and it's picking the single case for me. When I get here, it's changed to B12 and it picks this number for me here. And if we sum all these two together, it will give us our total number of employees. And from here, easily we could know the state of all our employees in terms of marital status. So to just make this okay, we can add something here called total. And from here, we have something called sum. I light the whole cells together and hit to enter key. You can see it's still 44. Any question? Any question? So basically, this count is something that I feel HR personnel will use more and more. More and more is what they will use more and more. That's why I am just kind of taking my time to emphasize this. Now, in a situation, we are just learning everything about counts. We've used one, counts, A. We've used counts if. There's another one that I want us to use now called count ifs. This, okay, count ifs, there will be X in the front. This count if here gives us, we are comparing a particular, just one condition. Just one condition. But if you are considering count ifs, you will be counting based on two conditions. Let's look at our data, a scenario whereby we can do that. Can we just look at a situation in this data now that says we want to know marital status of female, of our female in the organization, female employees alone. Now, this is total for everybody. Let me pick this and come here. And let's say we then, don't forget, these are what we are looking at today. By the time we are done with all this, we'll build a dashboard with it. In this place, I will match this cell and I'll call it female. Okay, I think I'm even going too far. I'm going too far. Let me just delete this. This is total. Let me centralize it. Let me centralize this here. In this place, I want to have female, and yeah, I want to know for male. So with this, I want to know out of these 24, how many of them are male? How many of them are female? Out of these 5, how many of them are male? How many of them are female? This is what we quickly want to check. So how do we go about it? It's just straightforward. We'll be using this count ifs. We say, okay, equals to count ifs, open brackets. You recollect that when we're doing the first one, criteria range, that's what we saw. But this one, you are seeing criteria range 1, criteria 1 range, criteria 2, long and long like that. That's what we'll just be doing. So now let's come here now and say, sorry, equals to count ifs, open brackets, come here, come to your cell where you have your data. The first thing we want to do is this one, comma, marital description, comma, this marriage. Let me just make it simple. Let me press enter key. What do you see here? It's still 24, right? But we are not done. There is one more condition that we want to put. We now, in this case, now put comma, come to your raw cell, select this column. Select this gender column, comma, open brackets, female. Don't forget, I told you Excel does not understand this. That's why we need to put it. Press your enter key. So 13. So 13 of these 24 are female. Let's drag it down. You understand? Now, this total, we need to delete it. Now you can see easily for me, right? I could go this way. If 13 is 24, my male will be 24 minus 13, 11. But I will not do that. Let's use the same way we calculated for female to do the same. Count. If you have question, you can just speak to interrupt me. I'm not looking at the meeting page now, so I may not see if you raise your hand. All right. Count ifs, comma, select your marital column, comma, come here, pick your marriage, comma, come here, select your gender column, comma, quote, male, quote it, close your bracket, hit your enter key. Can you see that we still have the 11 back? But why is it that we have the whole 5 divorcees? They are all male. All right, so single, this is the number, this is this, this is this. With this, you can just drag this sum here also. You don't forget, initially, we already have our male as 22 and our female as 22 also. All right. So we've been able to use count A, count if, and count ifs. Do we have any question so far? Anybody with question? And if you agree with me that you understand what we are doing, thumbs up or just unmute yourself and speak to whatever we are doing. Are we clear? Do we need any further clarification?
Yes, to me, we are cleared. So I understand the process. So the only difference between can't if and can't ifs is that can't ifs deal with when we have more than one criteria. You want to count. Where can't if just for one criteria.
Exactly. You are very right. You are very right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is the condition when you use them. And the reason why I choose to start with count is most of all HR data, most of them are counts. You understand? You want to count how many employees that are in final stage of interview. You want to count how many of them that are this. You want to count this and that. Except when you now start doing with some maybe financial calculation and all that. And we are going to do all that when we get there. So that's why I feel I should start with this count. And I hope we are clear with this. I hope we are clear with this. Let's look at this data. There are more we can do. We want to know total number of employee per department, which is what I want to leave for us. We have this data. I want us to go give me total employee per department. Let me type it in our this thing. Total employee per department, total employee per department. Same thing, group them by gender. Group them by gender. You understand? Group them by gender, just like I did. All right. So let's do, you also do the same thing I did here, right? Just repeat it for total employee by position. In this case now, the department will be what will be here. Position will be what will be here. So let me add that. Position also group by gender, just like what I did here. Group by gender, group by gender, just like what I did there. So what I'm expecting for you is do this by position, and also can we also just check? Can we check employee source? Let's also analyze employee source. You know, all you basically need to do all these things is count employee source, also do for employee source. And all right, I think that works for now. That works for now. So basically, what I expect us to do is to use this count if that I used today, and I will be waiting for feedback from us. Ahead of our next class, I would come up with the dashboard that I want us to design. Maybe by Wednesday, I'll post it on the group so we can start looking at it before we meet for in our next class. I won't want to take us further than this today. I want us to be able to go back and look at what we have learned. Do we have anybody with question or anything that is not clear? I understand that I did not allow much of introduction. I went straight to what we have to do. And if you have anything that you really want to understand about the training and any other thing you need to know, can you just come up now? All right. If nobody is speaking, I will just agree that there's no comment or anything. So please, you have this data in the group. Please, let's go work on this. Let's drop it on the group. Please, it looks so simple, but the problem about data sometimes is when you look at it, it's simple. But when you start doing it, that is where you now start having depth understanding of some of all these things. So do it just like I've done. Post it on the group. Let me see it. By Wednesday, I will share the dashboard I'll be looking at. And next week, this time, we go into it straight away. I believe by the 4th week of the training, it should all be good. Any question? All right. So before we close, can somebody just speak? All right, Ebere, you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. All right, so
Sorry,
see you.
sorry,
Okay,
please.
all right,
Sorry. So are you
you have the
saying we should
floor.
just play? We should just play around the data set and see if there is any one or two visualization we
No,
can get from the data set?
I gave you specific information. Like,
Okay.
okay, I want you to give me total employee per department. I also want to
Okay.
see it for each gender. Shall you
Okay.
understand? Total
Okay.
employee per different position. I also want to see for each gender. I want to see the
Okay.
total, and I also want to see from each gender. Okay, now I also want to see our each total employee from different sources, employee sources, like where we
Okay, no
got
problem.
our employee. Want to get it,
Okay.
and want to see it by gender also. So
Okay. Okay.
that's what I'll be expecting from us before our next
Okay.
class. All right.
So are
So
we we should drop it in the group, right?
yes, drop it in the group. Drop it in the
Okay.
group.
So but presently now the group is closed. Is it going to be open for us?
I will open up. I'll open up, let's say by tomorrow evening,
All right,
just
no
for the
problem. All right,
purpose.
no problem.
You know, we need to just lock the group so
Yes,
that
yes, yes, yes,
there won't
yes.
be
I
any form of
understand.
disturbance.
All right, I understand.
So
Thank you.
I will open it up. And when I open it up, I'll just okay, we have this open for the next 12 hours or so for people to
All
drop
right, no
their
problem.
assignments. All
All
right,
right, no problem.
thank you. Please let's go back and look at some of all these things. We'll be dropping the video for this training. We'll be dropping it in our YouTube channel, and we'll communicate when we have that. So in case you want to go back and watch again. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, everyone.
Bye.